Alrighty. Let's get this show on the road. Alright, how we doing tonight? This are Beefalo Bart. And let me get set up here. Alright. We are broadcasting, and I want to set up a link for people in Discord really quickly, and then we'll get things going. Actually, let's go back to YouTube home. I want to make sure I get a good clean link for everybody. And go to... What in the hell is wrong with you, YouTube? Right there. Right there. Alright, so what we're going to do on this broadcast is I'm going to go ahead and, I know you can't see what I'm doing off screen here, but alright, so what we're going to do on this broadcast is I'm going to 1 second and I'll get this muted again. What I'm doing off screen here, but alright, so what we're going to do on this broadcast is I'm going 1 second and I'll get this muted again. Alright, I just had to close that up real quick. One thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a map selection in the main menu. And I'm trying to avoid going too much in depth into the main menu because of the fact that that's, well, where a lot of my multiplayer linking stuff is. So here's what we're going to do, though. Is I'm going to go ahead and do it. I've got some stuff prepared, and I will go ahead and I got to change the description on the stream as well. But with the map selection, I'm going to make just a couple temporary maps and for right now, and then show you how we're going to link it all together. Alright, so again, I've been having problems with my Unreal Engine 4, and problems that I've been running into is with 4.19, I can't just go into the project itself because it says it's not associated with a file, which is bull. It is. I've made sure that it is. So with that being said, I have to launch the engine, and then once it launches, then I can tell it which project I want to go into, and then I'll go in. Anytime before, all I had to do was just double click on the icons here and it would go right into the project. So yeah, whatever, I'll make do until we can figure it out. Downloaded the automotive finishes. That was a free asset pack from the marketplace. Kind of want to go through it and pick out a few things. I don't really want to have almost a terabyte of materials, so I'll just go through and I'll pick out what I really want from it. So a little recap of what we got so far, and I'm going to play this in standalone mode so you can get an idea of how it feels before we get started. And this is our main menu. We get some music playing, and the background's going to change. This is just because the first part of it was just the pirates only. We get our Steam username and avatar in the upper right hand corner. Exit game button does work. Single player works. Multiplayer, whenever you go to host a game, this is the menu that you have for right now. So when you want to go make a game, boop, that's what you do. So I've got some other people working on a few features, like Senor Adeline over there is going to be finishing up the swimming feature. Because as of right now, whenever you go into the water, and it's a little bit on the bright side, right now you just walk underwater. So, okay, no big deal. So if you go into this map and you want to play on the pirate mode, you hit the number 1 key, it changes you over to first person view, and you get a gun. There's still some things that needs to be tweaked on it, because right now, if you try to fire too quickly, it'll click, so it slows down your rate of fire. I'll take out some of the bullet drop because, well, It's a little bit more than I like. I want it to be there, but it's a little bit more than we need. And then you hit the number 1 key again, you go back into your first person mode. And, you know, that's all fine and dandy. Let's actually get into the work. Let's go back to the main menu and exit the game. Keeping in mind that, you know, all this work has been done on the live stream. I haven't done anything off camera to the actual project. So what you see on the streams is what's actually being done. So to get into the main menu stuff, I've got a couple cheat files of stuff that I've already made in a different project so that I could actually have a plan for this evening and make it actually work correctly. So we're going to go into the Forbidden Zone, the main menu widget. And the first thing we want to do is, as we see, we've got our buttons. They're visible for right now. I love how it just makes everything so in your face and everything expanded. So what we want to do is we want to create server box. We want to make that visible, and this is what we're actually going to edit. And I'm going to go ahead and expand that out just a little bit. I'll resize it again here shortly. But to get this rolling, I'm going to want to put a few things in here. I don't need you open. So with the create server box, we have a vertical box inside there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a spacer in. In fact, I'll probably put a spacer in above the server creation text. And spacer can be found in primitives and spacer. And all you need to do is drag it and drop it in. I'm going to drop it into the server box. If you just drop it in directly like that, it's going to put it wherever. Usually, well, it's going to put it at the bottom. So then you can just grab it and pull it up. And I'm going to put it in between the text and the box here for the chat entry or the text entry. And then with the spacer selected, I'm going to go ahead and change the y-axis to 20. Looks pretty good, because we're going to have another spacer, and what we can do is we can copy that and paste it and paste it into the vertical box. So now we have one here waiting for our next horizontal box. So what I want to do now is go ahead and put that horizontal box in, and you can find that in the panel section, horizontal, and I'm going to drag that down into here. And I need to start giving these things some names. So we know that this is a name box. Well, I'll just call it name box so we know what it is and separate it a little bit. And then inside this horizontal box, there's currently nothing in here. What I want to do is put in a checkbox. Now, checkbox is easy to work with, especially if you know what you're doing. So, yeah, most of the time I don't. Most of the time I just make it up as I go along. So we now have a checkbox in here, and I want to go ahead and go to Style. I don't like how small it is. So I'm going to go to Style, Unchecked Image, and I'm going to resize that to 24 by 24. And unfortunately, you really need to do this about 400,000 times. There's a bunch of places to actually put this in. But if you do this now, then you can make a copy of this one, and these settings will transfer over. So that's what I'm going to do, is I'll go through all of these boxes here that I need to go through and set my dimensions for the checkbox so that the checkbox is a little bit bigger. I don't like the default size. 16 is a little bit too small for me, especially when you start getting people running higher resolutions. And if anybody's running 14K, then you know, definitely these little checkboxes are tiny. Even though I'm not going to use the undetermined on it, I'm still going to go ahead and do these as well. There's no point not to, because I am going to always have a determined state, so to speak, for my checkboxes. They're either going to be checked or not checked. And it took a little fiddling around to come up with a good, solid way of making this work so that it works. So now that we've got our horizontal box, let's take a look at it and see we've got a checkbox, and now we want to go ahead and add in some text. And I'm going to drop it right on that horizontal box. And I'm going to go ahead and name this one Pirate. Well, we'll call it Pirate Map for now. And actually, we want to go ahead and make sure that we know that it's the Pirate Map box. Then inside that Pirate Map box, we have our checkbox and we have our text. And we're going to change our text over to read Pirate Map. And I really want a little bit of space in there as well. So I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to get a spacer. And right there. And I'm going to go ahead and drop it in between those two. And with that spacer, I'm going to change the y-axis to 20 as well. So that gives a little bit of space. I'm not really worried about the checkbox being right there on the edge, but if you did want to, you could resize it to where it wasn't. But I'm going to go ahead and set that to center, and well, let's just leave it on that for now. We're not worried about getting a whole lot of styling set up just yet. We want to get some functionality going. So with that being said, we only really have the one map. So let's actually take a look at that. And just because I want to keep in the habit of it, save all. Even though we're still working on that, we're going to come back to it. In our maps folder, we just have, well, I do have another additional maps called test map. And fortunately, the name of the map that we're using from the Polygon Pirate thing is called demonstration. Well, when I start bringing other asset packs in, they're all going to have the same name. So let's see what happens if I change the name of it to pirate_demo. Now, it's going to have to change it in a bunch of different locations. And let's see if it actually did change it in our main menu widget. You guys keep your eyes closed. See, it still says demonstration right there for a single player button. And right there as well. So we need to change that. So let's do another save all. I'm actually going to go into that map. And I'm going to save current again just because. So now I'm going to go in here and I'm going to go ahead and copy in the name of the map. Control C. So when we go back in here, we're not actually going to use that. We're going to go ahead and create a new variable called map to use. And we're going to make this a name. And none of that really matters in there. So I'm going to grab this stuff right here. I'm going to move it over a little bit because I need to bring in this variable to map to use. Now, it is not going to automatically set up a map until we actually tell it to. So, and in the designer graph, when we look at, God, I hate whenever it opens up all this crap again. Had it all nice and neat and organized the way I wanted to, but no, it had to screw it up. So with our checkbox, we need to go ahead and give that a name. I'm just going to abbreviate it for now. PM for pirate map. CHK BOX. PM checkbox. So we got that. And again, let's go ahead and go into our maps folder and go to our test map. I don't recall saving it. Oh yeah, well, yeah, why does it need to save that? I'm still working on it. Now all I did was I took the same map and I elongated it. So I lied, I did do something here. So we'll play this in our standard mode, we'll change over to our gun, and we can shoot things and knock them all around. So much fun, right? So since we see that our gun is capable of affecting physics, that'll come in fun later. So, alright, test map, we're going to use it as well. So we have our pirate map, that's good to go. We need to go back into our graph, and we need to go ahead and start setting up a series of variables. And for right now, I've got just the two maps, so I'm going to link those two. And what the heck, I'll go ahead and throw the lobby map in just for the sake of it. It'll be something that we can quickly change out later. So what we need to do is we need to create the first variable, which is, and I hit the wrong button. I don't want to do a macro, you idiot. Again, you guys let me do these dumb things. I don't need you. Go away. Thank you. Variable. Thank you very much. So this variable is going to be called actually pirate map underscore, or just pirate map checked. And we need to make this a Boolean. And just because I want to go ahead and put a question mark on the end, because we're asking, is it checked? So that's the first of them. And the other map we're going to use is called test map. So that'll be TM and then LM for lobby map. So now I want to create another variable. We have TM checked question mark. And then we'll do one more, which is the lobby map. LM checked. Doing it like this, we can see what these variables are. Okay, well I can see that it's asking me, is that actually checked? So with that, we need to go ahead and grab our first one was the pirate map. So I'm going to go ahead and select this one, and when we actually on checked state, and I'll go ahead and grab the other two since we're here, and I'm going to drag them off to somewhere else. So the second one was our test map, which we haven't set up yet. So let's actually go back to our designer, and we just want to make a copy of this, and we'll go back up to our vertical box and paste and paste. And then copy the spacer, and I'll move that spacer out between those two pirate maps. And I grabbed the wrong spacer, so let's go ahead and make that one 20. And let's see, we got between there. Oh, I hate whenever it does that. I know, I'm going to keep complaining about it. I'm old, I complain a lot. Shut up. Anyway, so I'm going to grab this spacer right here, and I'm going to go ahead and make a copy of it. And 20 may be a little bit too big, but oh well. I'm going to paste it inside there and drag it up between those two. And I don't need this one open. I do need these two open, so that I can go ahead and change these two. And the second one is going to be our test map box. And we'll go ahead and change the text over to say test map. And with the other one here, we're going to go ahead and rename it to lobby map and change the text for it. Alright, so that's the first phase of it. That's got it done. And take a quick look. It'll work. It'll do. So now we can go back into our designer graph, and since we already have the PM box, we need to go ahead and find the other two. And why didn't it change the names in the designer? Test map box. Okay. I didn't change that. TM. And this was our LM. So now they should be named correctly, so I can actually find them in the graph. So there we go. We got our test map, and we have our PM, TM, and LM, our lunchbox. So now I'm going to go ahead and grab these guys. And I'm going to work from over here just because I want to. Alright, with those 3 boxes we have there, they're not going to take up very much room. So, could go ahead and pre-organize a little bit. So, what we have to find out is, from our 3 variables right here, is PM checked. So, and actually, I'm going to go ahead and, even though we've already created these, I got ahead of myself a little bit, and I'm going to delete those, because what I want to do is I want to come off from is checked and promote the variable. And this variable I'm going to go ahead and call PM checked, and I'll do the same thing for the other ones. I will come off from there and I will promote to a variable, and I'm going to call this one TM checked. And again, I'll do the same for the lunchbox. I mean the lobby menu, and pull it off from there, promote it to a variable, and that will be called our LM checked. So now with those, we can go ahead and move into the next part. And if the PM box is checked, we're going to go ahead and need to get TM and LM checked. And I'll go ahead and link those together. And then I'll do the same thing for TM. So I need to get PM and LM. And on the bottom one, I'm going to need to get PM and TM. So I'll go ahead and get these connected, and I'll go ahead and move them around to where everything is neat and organized. So what this is going to do is, if the first one is checked, it's going to tell the other 2 to not be checked. It just cleans up things and makes it actually work correctly. And then we need to go ahead and get a reference here for setting our map to use. And I'm going to put 3 of them down. So in each one of these, I need to go ahead and assign a map name. So the first one was our, let's go back in here, and because if you cannot remember how to actually spell it, or how you typed it in, or the case structure or whatever, just do like I did right there, and you go to the actual map itself, and you click on it once, click on it twice, and there you go. It's highlighted. All you have to do is Control C and then click back off of it. And then Control V to paste it in. All we're doing is we're going to have to tell the Unreal Engine 4 to actually, when I have one box checked, I need to make sure the others are not checked. If you don't do it, then it's just not going to work. Trust me, I found out the hard way earlier. So we have our pirate demo, our test map, and our lobby map, and this is all functional and is going to work. So we need to go into the next part. Back to our designer, and as we look at our checkbox, and sometimes you can get lucky and actually click on it here. This time it's not going to let me. So come to our vertical box, scroll down to our first checkbox, which is the pirate map checkbox. Go to checked state and click bind and create a binding. So this is where we actually need to finalize. And as you can see, you have the value right here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and Control C and Control C. I want to have a total of 3 of these in here, because what I want to do is I want to make sure that this one is checked and these 2 are unchecked. And from here, I'm going to go ahead and break that link, because I'm going to go ahead and throw in a sequencer. And the sequencer is going to allow me to add an extra pin there. It's going to allow me to split it off, and I need to create a branch for each of these. And with that branch, I can connect the true to right there on the executable on the top of the pin. So with this branch node, we need to now find out is OM check, TM, or LM. So the first one that we're working on right now is PM. So I want to get a reference to that, TM and LM. And what I'll do is I'll take and link those up. Alright, you pain in the ass. Get underneath there. And you can just pigtail them underneath there so they're tucked out of the way. And then go ahead and connect your sequencer to each of these branch nodes. And there you go. Go ahead and make that neat. And that's close enough for government work. Alright, so this is actually going to work for that, and since I have so many OCDs on a lot of things, I don't like that name, so I'll come up here and I will change the function name. PM checkbox status, just because. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that one open, even though what I'm going to do is just copy Control C to copy that. I'm going to go back into my designer again. I'm going to go down to TM box, and the same thing. I need to create a binding, and I'm going to go ahead and move that over to here. I'm going to delete that and paste this in, drag it over, and now all I really need to do is I need to grab the PM box, because we're now on TM, and I need to grab the TM box, break that link and connect it to here. Drag that down there, connect this one now to the second spot, and this one is finished. Just that easy. And I'll go ahead and compile and save, just because we haven't saved in a minute or so. And then I'll go back in here and I'll change the name of it, and we'll go to the third one, and we'll be ready to test this out. And this was TM checkbox status. Go back to our designer, click on our checkbox, our binding, create binding, compile and save, and then go ahead and rename this one anyway while we're right here. And this is going to be LM checkbox status. You know, isn't this exciting work? I mean, this is awesome stuff. It just makes you get all warm and fuzzy inside seeing all this repetitive stuff. But you know what? If you didn't know what it was and didn't know how to do this, this is probably exciting. I know I would find it exciting. But then again, I have no life. So I'm going to break those links. And then I'm going to link LM to here and drop it under. And then we'll throw PM to right here and throw it under, and we are done. Compile and save. And I don't need you, and I don't need you, and I don't need you. So that's all good to go. So what we're doing now is whenever we click on the checkbox, and let's actually go into the lobby, main menu map, and play in standalone. So we hit multiplayer and click host. Now we have the ability to check. Well, I want to go to the pirate map. No, let's actually go to the lobby map. By selecting this one, it now says, hey, you can't be checked anymore. So it automatically unchecks the box for us. So that's what all that actually was. So let's go ahead and see if this works. Let's go to the lobby map, give it a name, and create. And there we go. We are in our lobby map. Thank you, bud. You know, I'm not really watching the chat on the YouTube page because I got like 4 windows open on that left monitor. So I'm watching chat in Discord. So I'm actually going to go into the game in standalone mode so we can see this one more time in the way it works. Because if I hit escape while I'm in the standard viewport, it's just going to close the project or the view. So doing it in standalone, bring this up. We see our Steam functionality is working. Go ahead, multiplayer, host. Let's let's go to the test map. Alright, so we can go into our test map and we can shoot things. And then we can hit escape, go back to our main menu. We want to host another one, and let's actually go back to the pirate map, give it a new name, and make. So there we go. It functions flawlessly. And just because I want to be thorough here, host, lobby map, and there we go. We're on the lobby map. So everything's working on that. That went a whole lot faster than I was expecting it to work. So I'm done with the broadcast. Good night. See you later. No, I'm kidding. Don't want to end it that quick. That's what she said. But anyway. So that was quick. That was easy. Later on, what I want to do when we actually have maps is to create thumbnails for them. So whenever you click on a map with the checkbox, it'll throw up an image of the actual map so you can see a thumbnail of the map. I think that'd be pretty cool. Another thing that I wanted to do was I looked at and I've had some requests for option stuff. I went ahead and showed how to disable the motion blur, but I really haven't looked into doing that in a blueprint. I'm not going to do that right now, but whenever I do start doing a settings menu, I will showcase some of the other stuff like screen resolution. So if you're running 5760 by 1080, there's more than just setting the resolution, because when you run the ultra widescreen like that, I found that even though it shows up fine, I could play the game in 5760 by 1080, but the problem is it zooms in a little bit too close. It changes your field of view, so you actually have to do another command on top of changing the resolution to also change the field of view so it looks semi-normal, and that we'll get into on another occasion. So map-wise, we can either, and let some of you guys help decide that, do we want to do a temporary shooting range map, make some targets, or the other thing that I said I was going to do was try to make a bowling alley. Because this game is not just a pirate game. The pirate thing is just one of the themes that's part of the actual game. So how would you actually create a freaking bowling alley? Well, I don't have any textures, and as much as I hate to do it, and I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna undo it, if that makes sense. I'm going to add, I've already had the animation starter pack, but I'm going to add starter content, but I'm going to delete about 95% of it because I don't need all the junk that comes in that. So if you want to add the starter content to a project that you forgot to add it to, all you have to do is click Add New, go up to the very top, Add Feature or Content Pack, and this is where you can also, if you want to add in vehicle controls to your third-person project, go right ahead. You want to add top-down element, side scroller, flying, whatever, you can add those here as well. But what I'm going to do is, for right now, I'm going to select the starter content, I'm going to add the project, and then I'm going to immediately go back through and start weeding through what I don't want, because that's going to add about 600 megabytes to the project. The game as it is right now is only about 118 megabytes. So we don't need to add that much to it if it's not really doing anything for us. We're not going to need the architecture. We're not going to need the audio because I've already imported that separately. We're not going to need the blueprints, HDRI. We're not going to need maps. We're not going to need, we need the materials. We don't need the particles because we're going to use particles from the polygon stuff. We don't need the props. Don't really need the shapes. We just need textures and materials. So I'm going to go ahead and start selecting these extra folders that I don't need and delete. It's going to be all kind of ugly because it doesn't want to. The only thing I really need for right now for testing the bowling alley, let's see, so Draco was in chat there. I can only see like a 2-inch by 2-inch section of the YouTube screen, so I'm not really watching that chat. So if you're talking to me right there, I don't see it. I'm talking to myself mostly and to people who are in the Discord public lobby. So as soon as this gets done, we'll just have some new materials and new textures. And the materials that I really wanted to look at was, I needed a wood texture. So if we're going to do I found that a bowling alley, we needed to have that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make a new level. And let's start off with a default. And we're really not going to need that, but I'm going to leave it anyway for now. So we'll have somewhere to stand for the first part. I'm going to go to geometry and I'm going to create a box. Exciting stuff, huh? So let's go ahead and zero that out, and yeah, let's go ahead and zero it out completely here, except for the x-axis. I'm going to actually not make any more transforms in this part or with these tools. I'm going to change the dimensions of it by utilizing the brush settings. That's going to let me put my materials down without skewing them and stretching them, making them look like crap. So I'm going to change the z-axis to 20. That's going to give me, we're going to leave it at 100 because we're going to be taking some stuff out of the floor. We've got to have the gutters, right? So we want to put the gutters in. Well, so Draco, we just finished doing the map selection. So that's already functional, working. Checkboxes and everything are great. They're all good to go. So now let's go ahead and change the y-axis, which we can see right here. And even if I change my direction this way, the green is still pointing in the right direction. So I know that I'm wanting to change my y-axis. So I'm going to go with 5,000, a little bit too wide. Let's go with, yeah, that's good enough for now. We'll go with actually 1,000 because we can still utilize our zero axis for our y. And that's going to be important here for doing some fun mathematics. But now we want to make it longer. We want to simulate a bowling alley. So we want to go in the x-axis, and let's go ahead and do, that's a little long for a bowling alley. Let's cut it down to 3,000 seems good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it over here and get it close to our starting platform so we can just come right over here to our world settings, set it in third-person game mode, and save all. So we can go ahead and we're going to call this bowling underscore test. This won't be an actual, this will be a temporary bowling alley that will work, but for now we just want it to be the test version. So now we can come into the map and we'll have to jump up to get on here, but that's not an issue. And this is going to be good enough for a bowling alley. And we can actually bring this back up. See, by moving this one, it's causing us to actually have to do our lighting, and I don't really care about doing the lighting right now. So how are we going to get the gutters to work? Well, we have cylinders. I'm going to go ahead and grab a And we're still working in geometries. So yeah, that's a little bit on the big side. Go to our details panel, and first off, let's go ahead and we can rotate it 90 degrees. That's not going to affect anything. And then we want to change the outer radius to, let's try 20. That's not bad. Let's go 25. Now let's go 30. We're going to make it a little bit oversized for right now. It's not a problem. And then our z-axis is actually going to be this way now, even though it's different. Let's try changing our z to, let's actually make it 2500. No, not 25,000, you dork. So by changing it to 2500, it's not going to go down the entire lane, but it will go close enough because we want to step up here and then be able to bowl. And I'm going to go ahead and drop this down so that it's just going inside the ground, so that I can go ahead and slide it back this way. Alright, quit being an ass. Our cylinder brush. And that is going to be good enough. So what we can do to position it, before we actually get into the positioning of it, let's look at the rest of the settings here. Number of sides is 8. Let's try it with 12. A little bit more round there. That looks a little bit better. You can go as much as you want. You can put 35 in there if you want to, but I'm going to say 12 is good enough for what we're doing on this. And on our positioning, let's try 60. No, good God Almighty. 60. We can actually manually lower it down, but I want to get a consistent number. So let's try with 50. And then for our location, why is everything going to fight me today? We're going to go ahead and zero it out. And from 0, knowing that I scale this correctly with geometry, each one of these blocks is going to be 100 by 100. So this big gray, dark gray square is a 100 by 100, same as this. So now if I want to move this over by 100, and I'm actually going to do it by 150. And I'm going to go ahead and change the brush type to subtractive. And now it's going to make our gutter. And I can actually Control C and Control V, start sliding this over, and I'm going to change this to negative 150. And now we have an evenly spaced way to set up our gutter. And if we wanted to simulate that we're doing multiple lanes, I can go ahead and select both of them. Control, actually, no. I can Control V one more time, and we know that's going to be right there, 150. That's another 100. That's another 100. But let's actually line it up to here to simulate that there's another lane right next to it. So we can do multiple lanes if we so desire. And to be a little bit closer on the measurements, let's go ahead and go with 250 and negative 250. So there we go. Excuse me. So we need to give this some a little bit better looks here. So I'm going to select this plane right here. We come over to here and we'll locate one of our wood textures. Let's go with oak. See? That's why I get paid all the big bucks, bruh. And do all the fun, cool stuff. Now the sucky part is, and what I'll do is I'm going to actually come back to my cylinder brush, and I'm going to get rid of the other 3 temporarily. We know where we're going to go with them, because we actually have to come in here and select the faces. And this is where it could be a pain in the butt sometimes. But we're only concerned about the faces that we can see, and see what happens there is I'm holding down Control to click on multiple faces at a time. And Unreal Engine 4 does this to me pretty regular. I'll have all of them but one, and it'll just break all of them. So I have the faces selected that I want to work with, and I'm going to go ahead and give it a different texture so that we can see that it's actually the gutter. So I don't know what are we going to use here. We'll use this dark walnut for now. So, and actually no, I want to go something a little bit darker. Actually, let's go with that. It's not pretty, but it's definitely something we can see here. So I'm going to grab my brush again, Control C, Control V, and then I'm going to go ahead and change my parameters to -150, and then I'm going to Control V, Control V, thank you, and I'm going to change its parameters to 250, and then Control V again and go to a -250. So now we actually have our gutters, and we could do also later on if we want to is go ahead and put a little small barricade line there, which can just be a box, and I'll grab that, and we know that our x-axis is going to be 2500, and we can move that over to be on the edge. We can actually change it a little bit. Let's go with 2450, make it just a hair shorter, just cosmetics, and we definitely don't need it to be that wide. I'm going to go ahead and leave it at 0 axis for now, and let's actually change the Y. Let's change that to 50. Let's actually go with 40, make it a little bit thinner. And the Z-axis, we're going to do also 50. And we'll come over here and we'll bring this down to 50. Slide that in between. And it's a little bit too wide, so we're going to go ahead and change our Y again to 30. So we can see some of our pretty wood there. And we'll set this to 200, and it should put it in the right spot. And I'm going to leave these untextured for right now because this is just a cosmetic piece. And I'm going to Control C and then Control V and slide it over. And we know that it's going to be -200. And there we go. We just got a little divider back there. And yeah, it's good enough. So this is a nice little temporary bowling alley. And you know, you got the texture back here. We can get rid of the default material on it. And let's go with... that's terrible. There's one that's no, you ass. Tile, ceramic tile, checker, and then we know that this is going to be a pain in the ass. And just to be goofy, and just so you can get an idea of how these work, the linear stairs, we damn sure don't need that many stairs. So we only need, let's change it to 2. And then I'll go ahead and slide it in place. Totally not necessary, but you know what? Might as well learn something while we're here. And let's go ahead and change the step width to what was our width? We were at 1,000. Yep, that sounds good. So now if we go into play, we actually have some stairs we can walk up onto, and our bowling alley actually looks like it's a pretty good size. And if we don't like the texture of that, we can actually change that to pine. And we could also come back in later and change the rest of it. Again, this is just purely for cosmetics and for goofing off, just kind of showcase some of the things we can do. And now we need a bowling pin. Well, there's two ways I can go about this. One way is, well, I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway, so I might as well go ahead and do it and talk about it while we're going. Some of you know that this is actually going to be the core of the game, so there's going to be a lot of other things besides doing a pirate battle. Pirates is only a small portion of what's going on, so I'm going to go ahead and grab the Polygon City asset pack, and I'm going to throw that into the project. And it's just that easy. I mean, I don't have any assets though. I'm still looking for some. So it's going to go ahead and do its thing. It's going to add the Polygon City in there because I know that there is actually a bowling pin in it. Yeah, with editing meshes, you primarily got, the easy stuff, which is like I just did, putting down the meshes, changing the geometry of it a little bit by the number of facets and sides, the dimensions and so forth without skewing the actual material mapping on there. Just the same also with material mapping. Once you've got it on there, if you don't like the size of it, you want to make the board smaller, which would be more suitable for a bowling alley. So let's do that while we're thinking about it. This kind of looks like boards. So if you look, you've got pan and rotate. All right, can you guys see me now? Welcome to AT&T, shittiest internet in the East. All right, so there we go. Yeah, my internet just decided it was going to go ahead and shut down for just a minute. So not knowing where exactly we lost each other, but all right, you guys are good, right? So this is our bowling pin, and yes, I installed an entire asset pack for a bowling pin. No, not really. So even though this is just the static mesh, I'm not just going to throw a static mesh into there because, well, when you go bowling, you need 10 pins, and you definitely need them to not be that large. So let's actually go into our assets folder and map assets. Ignore that. Something else I was working on. Alright, you guys are good. You can see me streaming, right? Alright, cool. Alright, so we're going to make a bowling pin. So we need to get the blueprint and actor and bowling pin. Going to go into it, and you're going to get your ass right over here. We're going to close the main menu widget. We don't need it right now. We're going to do a quick save all just to make sure everything's saved and up to date. With that selected, I'm going to go back into my props folder, and like I was saying, this bowling pin's a little bit on the large side, but we can manipulate that in the blueprint. But yeah, there's just so much cool stuff in here. There's traffic lights and crossing lights, mailboxes, newspaper boxes, parking meters. Yeah, if you don't have this already, shame on you. And for the people on my team that don't have it, you will very soon, I promise. So again, I've got the bowling pin selected. So now I come in here, add component, static mesh, and there we go. So we definitely need to go ahead and scale this down just a hair so that it looks more usable. So we're going to try with 0.2 by 0.2 by 0.2. probably still going to be a little bit on the large side. But that's where it comes in handy to do this, is we're going to go back into the map assets, and I'm going to go ahead and throw one on the ground. So we can see what we're doing here. And I'm going to actually drag the window here. So first off, we know our size is wrong. So I'm going to go ahead and try to make this as viewable as possible. So we can get in here and see this. I'll change it back around here shortly. For our scale, let's try 0.1 by 0.1 by 1. That's actually not bad, so we're going to leave it at that, but it's sticking in the ground, so we're going to fix it in here. And I'm going to zoom in into the map so I can actually see here. I want to see that I am putting it just slightly through the surface so that it looks a little bit better. There we go. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and throw this back up here, compile and save. And now we know that our bowling pins are going to be, that's actually a little small, but we're going to work with it for now. And you can't do anything with it. It doesn't, it's like locked in there. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. And we need to set it up to be movable. So let's look in here and see what we got. Well, first off, enable gravity. We want to simulate physics. We want to make this movable. It already is. So we've got that. Let's actually see if that does anything to it. Let's add mass to it, and let's lower it down to about 50. And let's compile and save and see if that did anything to our... Oh, he fell over on his own there. Would you get up? Nobody told you to lay down. Well, it moves. Bowling with a rifle is not always... Well, it is fun, trust me. I've actually bowled with handguns before, so... But at least we know that our bowling pin is susceptible to being knocked over. So I'm going to go ahead and... I'm not going to get really completely OCD about the placement of it. So there would be another way you could do this and actually set it up to where all of the bowling pins are in that same blueprint. And that's what I'll probably end up doing. So we know that we need 10 pins. I'm going to Control C, Control V, and I'm going to go ahead and set it just to the side a little bit. I haven't bowled in a long time, so don't give me crap, okay? I'm Control C and Control V, and I'm just going to say, okay, we're going to put this at 20, and this one at -20. Yes, I know they're side by side. Hold on to your horses. So now I can grab that one, and I can drag both of those back at the same time. And then I can grab this one, and I can grab all three of them at the same time. And just try to get them somewhat positioned. Again, I'm not going to get carried away with everything. So that's 6 bowling pins. I'm going to grab this one and this one. And I'm just going to move it directly back and over some. We just want it to be closed for now. And one here and one here. Do the same thing. Control C, Control V. We're going to move it straight back and then over. And there's our 10 pins. So we have bowling pins. So why are they falling over? That's something we need to address now. Is they just fall over on their own. They just know how freaking great I am at bowling that they just go ahead and commit suicide and fall over on their own. They know better. So let's actually give it some more weight. Let's see if that does anything. That will be the first guess. And I'm going to go ahead and save all. Just keeping the habit. And they're falling over again. You will not fall over until I tell you to. And no, bowling, we're not going to use the gun for bowling right now. But these will make great targets for later on if we want to set up a shooting gallery where you're shooting at bowling pins and so forth. Let's go ahead and select all of them. And I'm just going to move them up just a little bit. Yeah, they fell over. Just so you can see what I'm seeing here. I mean, I can see it pretty well, but I'm just going to go ahead and grab my player start. And I'm going to go ahead and move it closer. Yes, I know it's a bad size. Whatever. So, yeah, when I go on there, they just fall right over. So, that's something we're going to definitely have to fix here. Generate overlap events. We're going to say no for right now. And we have linear dampening. Drag force. May look at that. And may look at that. It's just going to take some tweaking around here to get them to where they're not falling over. You punk ass bowling pins. Really? Went right through it? And right through it. So, why are they falling over? They're all on the ground. I mean, if I grab them all and pick them up to right here and hit play, they're going to fall from the sky and land on the ground. That I can see. So, I'm going to grab all of them again, and I'm going to set uniform height of 50. So they're all exactly on the same height area. And everything else should be good. That is just so retarded. Oh. Because if we go back into our blueprint for our bowling pin and turn off gravity. I mean, that doesn't make sense, but now they're just kind of floating in the air. Space bowling, anybody? Funny, but not what we're looking for. That effect could probably be used for other stuff as well. That is kind of fun. We want to have gravity. That's a given. But let's actually turn off mass and see what happens. Nope, that wasn't it. So it's one of these things where, yeah, you're going to have issues. And if you uncheck simulate physics, that's... Okay, they're still standing up. But they don't have physics to them, so they're not going to get knocked over. So you actually have to have simulate physics on. They have to have some mass to them. You know, if anybody has any suggestions here, just go ahead and throw them out there. Start awake. I've never heard of that before. Okay, so mass scale. Per instance scaling of mass. Max depenetration value. That doesn't sound healthy. Yeah, I thought about that. The dampening. I have no dampening, angular dampening, but let's actually throw a 0.5 on that. Actually, there's a center of mass offset. That's one thing I definitely want to look at. Yeah, the center of mass. If I could lower the center of mass, then let's put that back to 0 again. Try center of mass Z of -50, and just to see what happens. If you lower the center of gravity, they're still standing up. They still have good mass there, but why are they not all moving? This then just said a total big fuck you and just, I'm not going anywhere. So let's try it again. Still standing up. Well, it works. Alright, so they work. And that's all it really took, was actually going in here, and I lowered the center of mass by 50. That kind of stabilized them enough to where they're going to stand up on their own now. So the next thing will be to, you don't want to sit there and just shoot it. So what I'm going to be working on, and I'm probably going to do some work off camera. I know I said I wouldn't, but I've got to completely go through the weapon systems setup. And honestly, it's just not going to work the way we got it. I know it was temporary when I knew we were going to have to change it out, but I need to set up a whole new system for the weapon solutions. So what I can show for right now is, if you're using multiples of the, and I'm going to close down everything so it's, there we go. So if you're going to run multiple of like the polygon assets, the polygon pirates, we've already done this too, but I'm going to go ahead and grab from Polygon City. I'm going to go into the meshes folder, and I'm going to go into the characters folder, and I'm going to select all of the skeletal meshes. Now, these skeletal meshes came with their own skeleton right here. The good thing is the polygon assets from Cinti Studios, they all use a central mannequin. So I'm going to right now, I'm going to right click and come up to skeleton and assign skeleton. And now I can assign it to my polygon base skeleton that we created in the other video. And I'm going to have to go through this with all of them, and it sucks. But by doing this, I am now locking all of these skeletal meshes to the existing skeleton and animations that we already have. So now we've just added more characters we can actually use. So we're using the pirate gentleman. We could be a skeleton, we can be a lady, we can be whatever. And I'm going to hit save all, and we're going to go to our player character, characters, player, blueprints. So we are this guy. There's our lovely camera head. So what if we don't want to be him? We want to be somebody else. I can come over here to my skeletal mesh, and now we've got this entire list of things that we can be. Businessman. Cool. How about a suit? Well, yeah, we're really pimping it out with that yellow suit, But that's because we have Polygon Pirates texture selected. It's not the one we want for the texture on him. So we can actually go back over here on textures, Polygon City 1. Okay, well, what if we wanted a black suit? Well, we'll just scroll through the materials, and it's got to compile shaders. All right. Usually I see it better whenever it's compiling the shaders. Still a purple suit. But you can go through here and scroll through these different textures and choose different suit colors and stuff like that. Come on, hurry up and compile shaders. We don't have all night. It's a gray suit. But let's go ahead and go back to number 1. Compile and save, and we are now that guy. I don't really want to be that guy. Nobody really wants to be that guy. But again, we can go back to our pirate stuff. And the only thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to change the texture whenever we change over to it. But that's just so minor. Let's go to that guy. If we want to be a skeleton, want to be a police officer, go to male police. It's an interesting look there. But we'd have to go back to our Polygon City. I'm not going to stay on the police officer though. For right now, let's go ahead and we're going to be Blackbeard. So compile and save, and now we can go back in there and we are Blackbeard and got our hook hand. Interesting use of a hook there. Yay, I got a strike. Told you I'm that awesome at bowling. So essentially the same way we set up our shooting system, a very similar system will be done for our bowling. So we have a projectile spawner right there in front of our face, and that's cool. That's where our projectile actually comes from and not from our weapon itself. Same thing would happen if we wanted to create the ability to bowl. We would then have to come in here, but how I would do it is go ahead and add a component, and we want to be able to select as a scene component. Scene, and with that we're going to call this drop. Actually no, I'm not going to actually do that as drop. Yeah, I'm going to leave it as drop, and the reason why I'm going to call it drop is because if we decide we want to drop our weapon, we'll now have a location to drop our weapon from. So we're going to go 0 and 75 and 0. So actually, let's go 10. Let's bring it up just a little bit. So this is actually going to be a projectile spawner as well. So with that, that's going to be our location for our projectile spawner. It's like we did in our event graph for setting up that shooting system. The holy crap, where did we set that one up? I really got to get these organized. Lexmark, it's all your fault that I'm not organized. Health check, health regen, rifle check, primary attack, primary fire. So the same thing we did right here. We're going to spawn a projectile, and we're going to tell it where we want it to spawn from. And instead of a socket, we're actually spawning it from the projectile spawner. So with that being the way that it is, and we see we got our socket rotation, all that stuff too. We're going to copy a lot of this stuff over. But let's go ahead and compile and save, and we need to go ahead and make our bowling ball. We'll do that next. So let's go ahead to our assets and map assets. We got our bowling pin, so let's make a bowling ball. We're going to make a blueprint actor BB underscore 01, because if we decide we want to make more than one bowling ball, then we can make more than one bowling ball, because you know everybody needs more than one ball in their life. Anyway, so we're going to add a component, and we're going to add a sphere, because bowling balls are best whenever they're round in spheres. The shape material is not going to stay. Just to be a little bit on the different side, let's go ahead and give it this texture. Hey, we're not going to Lance Armstrong. We're going to have Lance Armstrong here. We're going to have more than one ball. I promise. See if anybody gets that reference. Really? Lance Armstrong? Ah, come on now. I'm not totally kid unfriendly most of the time. Okay, yeah, most of the time I'm not. But anyway, so yeah, we've had the texture on here. Hey, the Lance Armstrong joke, kids won't get it. All right, so with our new bowling ball, we've set it up just to be a bowling ball, and that's fine, but we need to actually make it work as a projectile, so I'm going to add a component to that, and I'm going to add the projectile movement. And that projectile movement, we don't want this to be hyper fast. So let's try 500 with a max speed of 500. Should bounce, yes. Is a homing projectile only if my arm is throwing it. Bounce angle affects friction. Technically, yes, but for now. Bounciness, we're going to leave default. Sorry, I can't see the text on YouTube. Paragon stuff, yes and no. This stream was going to be dedicated about the main game project. I wanted to get this into the project because I need to get this out to another dev build for my staff to start working on some things. So that's why I'm getting this one done. I'll take a break here in a few minutes, and when I come back, I'll do some Paragon. We're going to set component replicates because we want to see this when somebody else throws one. Really not worried about constraint to phase or plane just yet. Yeah, I want to start taking a look at Shinbi's abilities. The stuff that I was working on yesterday wasn't as smooth as I wanted to do, but I want to start looking at some of her abilities. Try to... I don't want to completely replicate the abilities of all the stuff from Paragon. I know a lot of people want to see Paragon the way that it was, but I kind of like to take it in a new direction. And without being rude to anybody who likes Paragon Project, there might have been a reason why they canceled the game. So want to breathe some new life into it. And as cute as Shinbi is, and her sword, her little heart thing she does, what's to say she can't carry a shotgun also, or a handgun, or throwing weapons, or actual magic spells, or other things like that. Expand upon the universe and take it a step farther. Maybe Shinbi just got tired of some of the other characters in the game and said, the heck with you guys, and pulls out a friggin' Glock and starts going to town, So yes, we have our projectile stuff right here. Let's go ahead and compile and save. the Hello Neighbor mod kit. Yeah, it's amazing how simple is something that in that game, Hello Neighbor. It's not a. If you look at the story, it's really not that complex. But she put a lot of work into that and did a lot of cool stuff with that limited resource. Well, yeah, I don't know what the reasons were for them taking down Paragon. I'm assuming it was because they want to spend more time on Fortnite, as sad as that is. Yes, I didn't resize the bowling ball. Um, but yeah, I'm not a huge PvP fan, so Fortnite doesn't appeal to me until they actually finish the rest of the single player slash co-op stuff. Yeah, there was still a pretty good amount of interest in the game, but I guess they were looking at they could make more money off of the Fortnite crowd because there's more tweens out there that are actually playing the game. Um, from what I can tell of Paragon, you it may not come across as much at first, but Paragon is not a game for the mentally challenged. You gotta have your stuff together to be good at it. So it had its own complexities without being totally bad. We're gonna leave our bowling ball at 1-to-1 size for right now. I know we're gonna need to resize it. I mean, I could throw it out here right now and raise it up. Take a look at it. We can go ahead and resize it. And yes, because it is a projectile, as soon as you place it, it's going to use its projectile movement. So let's actually move our dude back over here. Okay, so I can see also that it automatically went through the ground there. So we need to go ahead and look at that real quick. Um, let's check the sphere, make sure it's got all this collision turned on. Yes, yes. We don't need to look at that. Simulate physics. Let's try that and see what happens. Add some mass to our ball. Oh yeah. Maybe not so much mass. Because as soon as it deployed, it just like dropped dropped like a stone. So let's take off the extra mass in kilograms and let's see what happens with that. Yeah, it still drops right down. And yes, you could play kickball or Rocket League or whatever that thing is where you're crashing your cars into two the balls. So with the projectile spawner, it should technically move as soon as it actually activates. The reason why I want to check into the sphere, I wanted to make sure that there was going to be some ability for it to stay solid enough to go through the ground. And technically another thing that I could do as well for now is I can go back into my player character and in our fire event, that was our sound, our projectile. I can technically come in here and change the projectile to our bowling ball. So what happens when we do that? I don't see a projectile at all. So that didn't work. Weird. Okay. Yeah, it's getting to the point in the evening where things are going to start acting stupid again. So let's put it back to our regular projectile and make sure our gun's working correctly. Alright, so our gun's back to normal again. Yes, got a strike. So, our bowling pins work, and our bowling ball is just about there. Can actually work on that more later on, but it's getting about break time for me, and we've been streaming for an hour and a half. So I'm going to go ahead and take a break, and guys got any questions, you can check in with me on Discord and the public channel. And my guys, of course, you can catch up with me on the Dream Team. I'm going to go ahead and close this, and I am going to package everything up. I'm going to do a two-way packaging here. I'm going to set it up as a dev build, and I'm going to go ahead and make a new playable version. But first, before we do that, let's go ahead and go to our main menu, and let's go ahead and add the bowling map in there. Actually, let's replace the lobby map with the bowling map. So let's grab the text and call that bowling, and we're going to change, we don't have to, but the LM, yeah, let's go ahead and go to our graph, and instead of our lobby map, let's come back into our maps folder. Come on, thank you. Let's go ahead and pop that in place of lobby map. Let's put in bowling test. Now, single player is still going to go to the pirate map. No, it's probably not. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that single player goes to the pirate demo map. And we still have our test map and our bowling map. Let's go ahead and compile, save. I'm going to close that. I'm going to do a save all, a save current, go to lobby, not main menu map, and I'm going to do one more quick standalone test. We'll do that, confirm that everything is working, and then I'm actually going to go ahead and make sure it works, and then I'll go ahead and start packaging. Alright, so our main menu is working. Go to host game, bowling map, and let's make it and make sure it works. There we go. Hit one, and we can shoot it. And we can shoot our bowling pins. Alright, cool. So now go back to our main menu and exit game. We know that it works, so I'm going to go ahead and start packaging this, and I will get this thing up for a playable version. The link will be in the public lobby. For my guys, I will put a dev build up as soon as that version is done. So again, for packaging, I'm going to hit File, go to Package Project, Windows 64-bit, but wait, there's more. I actually have to clear out the other old version that I have, so that whenever I go to put it in there, I'll have a clean folder for it to go into. And I'm still leaving it under the Polypirate name for now. It will change over to the full CoG thing later. The Polypirate is just the name of the zip file that it's going to be contained in. So that doesn't have anything to do with the executable file. So File, Package Project, Windows 64-bit, and already in the correct folder. So I'm going to go ahead and save. It's going to do its thing, and while it's doing that thing, I'm going to delete my old version in zip format, and then I'll go ahead and, like I said, as soon as this is done packaging, I will get it dry tested and then I will go ahead and zip it up. I'll throw it on there. It's going to take about 10 to 15 minutes to get up there. Maybe a little bit longer because I added a second asset pack in there. Might take an additional 3 minutes, but oh well. So like I said, the playable version, and if anybody wants to jump in and do a test, because I need to test the multiplayer functions out to make sure everything's working correctly. I'm pretty sure I got a few bugs in the replication for multiplayer, but that needs to be tested. The playable version, like I said, is going to be in the public lobby. In the Dream Team, you guys are going to have a dev build version right after I get done uploading that one. So as soon as this is done packaging, so we'll go from there. So within the next 30 minutes, everything will be up total. The playable version for everybody in public, that'll be ready for you in about 15 minutes or so. But it just finished, and I'm actually going to go into it. And again, I'm going to show you what I do here is whenever you extract it like that or you package it like that, it goes into a folder called Windows No Editor. I just grab the files, drag it out of there, put it back into the root, and delete the Windows No Editor file. I don't like that. And then we can double click on it and it'll run as a standalone game. And there we go. It hops right in, full screen. Go to multiplayer. I'm going to host a game. We're going to select the pirate map. And our check feature that we had earlier, as you can see, it unchecks whenever you check something else. So let's go back to our pirate map. And this is why we dry test. I must have missed something on... Alright, so... yeah, see, again, this is why we do our dry testing. And all that we just did, go away. So, the reason for doing that testing is because when you're a jackass like me, you forget to do things like, oh, I don't know, go to your project settings and packaging, and from there we need to scroll down because we only have the main menu map and demonstration map. Demonstration map doesn't exist anymore. So we need to come in here and select Pirate Demo for the map, and we need to add 2 more. We need to add in the let's see, content, and we need to go to the maps folder. We need to add in the bowling test map, and we need to add in the the lobby map. We're going to include that as well. Yeah. So that's why it failed to work just then, is because I didn't have those maps included in the packaging. I do that so if you have these other maps that are in here, like the Polygon City map, I guess in tomorrow's when we'll do, I'll bring that map in. It's a really cool map, but I just didn't want to do it just yet. It's a huge file, and I'm limiting this to as small as I can get for now. So let's go ahead and okay, maps. We got bowling test, lobby map, main menu, and test map. Okay, we're good to go. So now I can do my packaging one more time. Yeah, that's why always test before you commit to uploading and everything else, because that would have been time wasted setting this up to the Google Drive, only to find out that, hey, nothing works. Yeah, because you're a dumbass and you forgot to change your map names. And while this is packaging, and I know I did it, but I want to confirm. Okay, Pirate Demo. I just want to make sure that I called it correctly in that. That's all that really matters. So again, this will be done packaging here in just a second. We'll run through a quick test on it, and then I'll go ahead and cut loose this stream, and then I'll take a quick break, get another cup of coffee, and I will get set up, and we'll go through some Paragon stuff and see what we got to work with. Alright, so this should be just about done. I'm actually watching the folder on my hard drive. So, you know what's really sad is I'm running 3 32-inch monitors. Why are you compiling shaders? I'm not doing anything that requires you to compile shaders, you jackass. Anyway, so yeah, I'm running 3 32-inch monitors, and I'm kind of wishing I had a 4th or a 5th, because I've got way too many windows opened up and I'm running out of space here. So, okay, let's go ahead and test this out one more time. So I'm actually going to run the game. Alright, we're good here. Go to the menu, host, give it a name, and we're going to check the pirate map. There we go, we're on the pirate map. We spawned on the ship this time. Okay, so, okay, we're good. We're going to go back to the main menu. We're going to host, go to the test map. We know this should work, but I'm going to test a quick failure point and change, and then change again and go to the bowling map, and it worked. Okay. So, oh, that was close. So, alright, we know the game works, and we just need to test the multiplayer functionality, see how that works. Robbed on that. And again, this is a faulty pin. Main menu. So you guys see, that's how your multiplayer works for right now. If you want to find somebody that's hosted a game, you click on Find, wait for a second, then hit Find Lobby. It will search. If it finds a game, you click on it and then click Join. It'll take you right into it. You want to host a game? There you go. You just type in a name for the game, pick a map, hit Make, and you're off. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Go ahead and take that break now. I'm going to go ahead and zip this up, and I'm going to get this going to Google Drive. And it should not take very long. I'll know here in just a second. And it is compressing. I'll tell you what the file size is once it's done compressing. Yeah, this is going to take a while to compress. I mean, it's going to take like a whole 3 more seconds. 2, 1, and done. So yeah, the overall file size for that playable game with multiplayer is, oh my god, it went a huge climb in file size. It's 140 megabytes. Yeah, that's why I stress paying attention to what you're uploading, so you don't get too much going on at one time. So 140 megabytes with my garbage, I mean my AT&T. I will, well, come on, where is the old version? Sorry, again, you can't see what I'm doing off screen. I really need to clean this place out. Get rid of the old version, and it is now queued to start uploading. New file upload. Yeah, I'm talking to myself again. I'm old. I can do shit like that. So, yeah, this is going to take a whole... While I'm streaming, it's going to take about 17 minutes, but I'm pretty sure it'll be about 15 once I turn off the stream. So, as soon as it's done, I'll go ahead and link that in the public lobby, and we'll see you guys back in a little bit for a little bit of Paragon. Alrighty, see you soon.